was when the business started. They used to sell gold sitting on the street. At that time, gold was sold in quarter kilo, half kilo, 1 kilo. There was nothing like grams.
You've taken what is almost a 200-year-old brand and taken it public to becoming a 10,000 crore market cap company. You've grown the store network to nearly 40 stores across Maharashtra. 192 years ago, when I think your great-grandfather started...
So actually, I'm the sixth generation.
You're the sixth generation.
In the family when the business was started. So 1800s or I think early 1800s was when the family moved from Konkan to Sangli.
Okay.
And they started 3 lines of business. They used to do oils, commodities, textile and gold. The other 2 lines they realized were not much of interest at that point of time, and they stuck to gold. They started selling on the streets of Sangli. So we didn't have a store in the early 1800s, 1810, 1815 was when the business started. They used to sell gold sitting on the street. And at that time, gold was sold in quarter kilo, half kilo, 1 kilo. There was nothing like grams.
Yeah.
And and the store officially we started near 1832.
You've taken what is almost a 200-year-old brand and taken it public to becoming a 10,000 crore market cap company. You've launched multiple jewelry lines. You've worked with celebrities. You've grown the store network to nearly 40 stores across Maharashtra, and I'm told there's one store in the US also. There must be multiple ups and downs in that journey, right? Where there's so many family businesses which started around the same time but today don't even exist, right? What was, according to you, the reasons why the brand has survived or the business has survived?
I think, when you look at a family business, there are 2 ways of looking at it. One is you do business for business, only for making money, where the business, it's a capitalistic way of looking at it. And one is because you enjoy what you're doing. My grandfather, Daju Kaka, moved in 1958 to Pune. And he said that, from Sangli, we'll move to Pune and we expand here.
Yeah.
Now, when he started, I finished my MBA in 99, 2000. I asked him that, why did we only have one store from 1958 to 1998? It's almost been like 40 years. And his answer was that, we wanted to build the city, our brand here, and not just expand for the heck of it. I'll give you an example. When in Sangli, they had a flood in the early 1900s. Uh, People just fled their houses and they moved. So they came to our house because our house was a little on higher side in Sangli, and they said that just keep this. So they tied up in cloths. They put all the jewelry and they said keep this when the things become all right, we'll come and take it back. Nobody knew what was inside there, how much was it.
Yeah.
That kind of trust, that kind of bond with people which we had with people, I think has made the business sustain for so long.
From the family business aspect to the industry in itself, it seems like you said, it's getting professionalized. And with every new store that you set up, I'm sure you think about economics of that particular store. Like, what is the rental, what is the cost, and how is the throughput going to be? So talk to me about how does the economics of the business work at the store level?
So, for us, we have a different model. I would say it's not a different model, but it's one of a unique model in industry. For us, when you look at a store sizes, we don't believe in having huge stores. Our store size typically are in the range of 3 to 4,000 square feet.
Okay.
So that we have realized is a sweet spot for us to able to showcase all the collections, be able to offer people the kind
This
of
is different
convenience.
from, let's say, a Tanishq store, which would be much, much larger than that.
So a comparison versus here, Tanishq or a Kalyan, I would say all the South players, the organized ones. So their store sizes start from 6,000 going up to say 15, 20,000.
Yeah.
Typically our inventory in a store would be around 30, 35 crores. Versus the South players or Titan would be in the range of say 70,
You say inventory 30, 35 crores of
is
gold and jewelry is there at the store.
at the store. But this is almost like say 50, 60% of what the other players would be having. So what really makes us function in this nimble way is that we do a lot of business which is made to order.
Okay.
That's a unique point for us versus the competition. By made to order, it's just not customized jewelry. It's what you would typically buy off the shelf. We'll make it for you. in almost like quick commerce time, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days.
Got it.
So a bangle would have an issue with size. So we'll have digital catalogs in the store. We'll have physical catalog. We'll have brass sample, copper sample. And with that, we'll take your order and deliver it to you in the most efficient way. This is possible because we have a strong set of karigars who came with us from Sangli, with us for 80, 90 years now. Again, legacy of them working second generation, third generation. So this gives us that entire leeway to be able to do customization of orders and then work with lesser inventories.
Got it.
So this gives me higher stock turns. Because I work with lesser inventories, I get higher stock turn than the industry.
Sure. And the amount of money that is blocked in inventory goes down because of that, right?
That gives me a better ROI. So that is where when doing the road shows and when we're talking to investors, this is a model which we have been able to successfully run for the last decades. And I think that is what has really been our secret, that we have been able to work with lean stock,
Hmm.
work with in order-based business. So this also has a flip side, that you have to be able to plan a merchandising really well. Because you're working, it's like you're going for a war and you have limited ammunition.
How?
You need to ensure that you have the right ammunition. Otherwise, you'll be out of, you'll be defeated.
So how do you optimize for that? Like when a customer walks in, she looks at a bangle and says that, okay, this size I'm willing to order, places the order. Uh, do they pay the entire amount
Yeah,
at
yeah.
that point?
So that is why this is all, because the delivery time is, for any person we have seen the delivery time, if it exceeds 10 days, then it has to be something which is a special order, customization.
Sure.
They're willing. Otherwise, for a regular order, more than 7, 10 days, nobody waits. So this is where we do it quick. We book the entire, so it's a 100% advance based model. You lock the rate. You get something which is done for you exclusively
Yeah.
at the same price which you would have bought off the shelf
Got it.
in a limited span of the 3, 4 working days.
Right. I think it's very interesting. You're giving the customer a great experience while keeping your efficiency very high. And that probably translates to better ROI overall for the business. You studied MBA, which is as capitalistic as it can get, where you're looking at financial models, marketing strategies, etc. Now, when somebody like you comes back into the business, is there then the tendency to apply some of that? And does that cause friction when you first start pushing for those kind of changes?
So when I finished my MBA, when I came back, I had a discussion with my grandfather on this. And I said, listen, what we should do is, we should do a SWOT. So nobody knew what it was. So I said, so fortunately, we had a professor in symbiosis, where I did my MBA from, who also was a customer and known to a family. So I said, let's call him and let's do a SWOT. He'll do it in a language which is comfortable for all of
What
us.
is strengths,
Yeah.
weakness, opportunities?
And then when they saw that, a lot of, the strength, obviously, each one knew, um, but they were surprised with the weaknesses and the threats. So like, when you started the whole philosophy of men being decision makers, having shop closed in the afternoon, women coming and shopping once the husband goes to office, all those things had changed. And the biggest thing was people wanted comfort.
Yeah.
I would not want to travel such a long distance, and invest 3, 4 hours for that. If given a choice, I would maybe move on.
Yeah.
And that kind of was the game changer. They agreed for that. So I said, hey, listen, if we don't change, very soon people will be forced to change us. So I had to do a lot of convincing for that. But at the same time, I also demonstrate that yes, we'll do it. So we did it in a hybrid way.
Yeah.
And that's how this journey started.
One very interesting thing that you use very actively are celebrities or well-known influencers to market the brand. How do you decide whom to use? What is the fitment with the customer and so on?
What we have seen is, when we had a choice, we said, let's look at somebody who's timeless. Because as a brand, we are a serious brand. Our audience is somebody who's a serious audience and who looks at long-term value. So we zeroed off on Madhuri Dixit at that point of time, uh, because we felt that she's like timeless beauty. She has evolved, professionally, socially, culturally, and people look at her as an icon. So that's how we had Madhuri Dixit. Uh, in between, when we were launching in Middle East, we had Salman Khan for a couple of years. We have a lot of local ambassadors for Maharashtra, looking at different pockets. A celebrity wrongly used can also damage the brand. So we do a mix of judicious mix of using each one's persona, each one's strengths. It's a very well planned strategy because a celebrity is like a double-edged sword. You have to use the celebrity well.
Yeah.
Today's the whole issue is how do you get a person's attention? The whole there's so much clutter and there's so much news and data to digest that today to reach the consumer is the real challenge. So we use uh, all these methods, and this is possible because we have a lot of data on customers. uh, we have a lot of data on buying trends. Okay, a lot of data on designs, pricing. So we have spent a lot of time, energy, and on tech. So our back end, a lot of reports. To a large extent, we can predict customer buying.
Yeah.
So we know that, okay, what are my top selling products, the major category.
Yeah.
So if it's a Mangal Sutra or a bangle, in that I would look at the various types. So a Maharashtrian jewelry, a Bengali jewelry, say a Kundan Polki jewelry. I would look at, what are the trends currently in the market. So there are a lot of indicators, that, okay, something we're trending online today becomes a offline purchase. Uh, what is seen wearing by, say, a movie celebrity is what becomes the fashion trend. You also have to understand, what is happening overall in the country. So I think that is what we really keep a lot of trends on. So trend forecasting is what we really do a lot of work on. That trend forecasting gives us the idea to be able to plan a collection for the upcoming season. When you enter market, we first do a survey. So it's like a cold survey. Our sales teams and market development team go and do a market survey, understanding what the market is. Then we do an exhibition there where we actually go and exhibit, sell, and get customer feedback on design, brand, etc., etc.
Got it.
So now we come to know based on that whether it's a gold market, it's a diamond market, whether it's a traditional market, or whether it's a little modern market, what would be the ATVs there. So like a Thane store versus, even in Thane, we have, say, a Ram Maruti Road versus Ghodbandar.
Yeah.
Ram Maruti is a very traditional market, very close to the Thane station.
I grew up in Thane, so that's why I'm very
And
familiar.
one on the Ghodbandar Road is a very, it's a very different market. It's more cosmopolitan, so it's more lightweight. So we, even in a city, we have to bifurcate. Like in Pune, every store will have a different merchandise. So that is why I'm saying our entire thing is, because we work on such lean stocks, we have to work on the right merchandise. And for right merchandise, you need right data.
And how is this whole influx of these new jewelry brands like Carrot Lane and Bluestone, etc., impacting the industry?
I think everybody today is looking at the industry towards being organized. Just for data, maybe 6 years ago, 10 years ago, industry would have been in single digits organized. Today, we are at around 45-50% organized.
Organized meaning it's happening in wide, the money is being.
No, organized meaning people are, all the things together. So they'll be following processes, systems. They'll have professional people working with them. They'll be doing things as per SOPs, being compliant. So that is what I'm saying, organized. You can even find
What percentage is that of the industry right now?
on 45-50%.
Okay, so there's another 50%
Yeah.
which is unorganized.
So the growth we have seen in the last 8-10 years is this growth, where
Hmm.
people have moved from the unorganized segment to organized segment. And also a lot of steps have been taken for it from the government side. So they have made hallmarking mandatory. So today, somebody who wants to sell gold of a lower caratage would not be permitted to do that. He'll be out of business. So it's made it's like a benchmark for the industry.
So hallmarking like a certification that is happening.
It's a stamp on the jewelry.
Okay.
So there are government certified labs under the Bureau of Indian Standards, and every jewelry has a mark. So it's a very small mark. When you look over it with a magnifying glass, you'll come to see it. But it talks on the year. It talks on where the hallmarking. The mark has symbols. So it talks on the caratage. So is it 22 carat, 18 carat? It talks on the where it was hallmarked, the hallmarking center, the year. So a customer today has access to uh, a hallmark. So that is a guarantee that this jewelry, what he's bought, is of that particular caratage. So now there's a double security. One is from the jeweler himself, and one is from the hallmarking center.
Sure. And how is this change in import duty? Because I remember reading the budget that it went down from 15% to 6% import duty on gold. How has that impacted the business?
That was a big step for the industry getting more organized. With this duty cut, what it did was essentially, they were estimated that, around 30% of the entire gold which comes in the country comes through unorganized channels.
That high, 30% of
This was
gold
the
coming.
estimate from the government, because this estimate came from that the data wherein the gold imports versus data of consumption were not matching. So if you import so much, and where is the consumption going, then the numbers, this was what pegged to.
Wow.
So we are one of the country which had the highest duty, 15%, like even US has 6%.
Yeah.
So I think the government took a very proactive and a very rationalized measure of getting the import duty cut. Now it's a level playing field at 6%. There is no margin for anyone to really, do wrong practices.
Yeah.
And that has also given a boost to consumption. This 10%, almost a 10% cut in duty
Yeah.
was a huge boost for consumer consumption. So as when a duty was cut, I think the month of July it happened. August was a Diwali all over India.
I want to switch gears, Saurabh, to your personal approach to wealth. In any IPO, there is possibly a primary portion where the money comes into the company, and there's a part which is an OFS, which is an offer for sale, where the promoter offloads a little bit of stock. In your IPO, there was a combination, I think, of
Yeah.
both of these that was there. When you decided to do the OFS, what was the thought process? Like, was there to secure the family, or was it to enable the IPO? Why were you doing some bit of capital raising?
So, when we decided to do the IPO, the objective was growth. So we said, hey, we want to raise money to grow. We had a plan for doing number of stores, which we did.
Sure.
OFS was primarily, it came out of, I would say, consultation with a lot of friends who are publicly listed through advisors like you, where the family has put in sweat, worked for the last 200 years, and decided, there has to be some portion which you reward yourself with.
Correct.
So it was just a combination of these things. There was no clear-cut idea why we had to do this. There was no fix that, okay, I want to start a different business with that, or to do something with that money. It was more or less just to reward the family. So our trust, which owns the shares, had no OFS from that.
Yeah.
And I think
And it makes sense because, after the company is listed, to offload stock becomes very hard, especially as a promoter, because then there are multiple disclosures, but also sometimes market takes it as a signal, right? As an adverse signal. Right through this entire conversation, when you talk about responsibility, purity, trust, EQ, your family values, your personal moral values stand out very, very clearly. Saurabh, this has been fascinating. I've loved having this conversation. Thank you for joining this podcast.
it's my pleasure. Thank you so much.